Hi everyone, I'm Gail Grossman, yoga educator and guide. Wanted to check in with you today to talk about some myths and myth busters in our yoga world. So, one of the first things that I remember as a new teacher was thinking that if I couldn't do a pose, that I couldn't teach a pose. So, for example, handstand. I couldn't do handstand in the middle of the room. And it's still a practice that eludes me. But does it mean that I can't teach it? No, because I know all the principles that work and I know how to help others to find it in their own body. So that's a really important piece as a teacher is sometimes for whatever reason you haven't grasped a particular posture. Sometimes it's anatomical, right? So, for example, if I've got a limitation in my shoulder and binding just doesn't feel possible, does it mean that I don't understand what binding is? No, right? Sometimes someone's able to do something and that maybe shifts, but they still understand the principles. You can absolutely teach things without having to do them yourselves. And maybe you even have a really wonderful student that you can use to show as an example. So don't feel that if you don't know how to do something, or I shouldn't say don't know how to do, aren't able to do it yourself, that you can't teach it in your classes. So that's one of the myths that I think is really important to bust right away. Another thing that I think is important for us to really dispel as teachers is this idea that you need to know everything. It is absolutely okay to say, I don't know. Number one, I always have students who come to me and they think that I'm a doctor. They ask me to heal them, and they will say, I've got this pain or I've got this injury. What do you think I should do? So, most of the time, I really just try to help people from the basics of yoga, and I don't try to give them all the answers because I don't know them. And I am totally willing to tell somebody where my limitations are. And I think it's really important that as yoga teachers, we know how to say, no, I don't know. But it doesn't mean you can't help them find the answer. So if you're vested in that person, know that you can definitely do some research and get back to them. And the other thing, the last myth that I want to dispel is that you don't have to know what you want to teach, right? In the beginning, you may feel really lit up by a particular type of practice, and maybe you're really clear what you want to be teaching. But I also want to say that sometimes that is something that evolves over time, and you may become much more clear in what you want to be sharing out in the world with time. And it just may be something that keeps knocking on your door, and then one day you're like, oh, yeah. I really love that, and I should be sharing it. And other times, you're just more clear right away. So know that you don't have to know all the answers. Know that stuff comes when the time is right. So I hope this was helpful for you today, and I hope that if you feel that you still have questions about what I'm speaking about, that you reach out to me. Thanks so much.